This next pond tour stop, if you watch this channel, you will absolutely recognize this. This is probably one of my favorite water features we've ever done. I'm here in Frisco, Texas. This whole pond and stream system has been here running for a few months now, and it is really coming into its own.
Man, this thing looks fantastic. I am in love. So I'm moving. I'll be here now. All right, so what else would you have in a grand house like this other than a grand fountain to drive up to? This is so inviting. It's got the perfect amount of sound, not too overwhelming. Just a beautiful assortment of spheres and waterfalls. This thing looks beautiful at nighttime. And then you just follow that stream down and it's just magic every step of the way.
This has got to be one of my favorite parts right here. I don't know how you get a cooler entrance to a house than crossing over this big beam bridge. These huge steppers leading up are going to have flagging in between them, same as what's on the other side of the bridge, but it's almost like you're entering a castle coming across this huge, I mean, it's so sturdy, you could probably drive a truck over this thing. Check out the way that's framed out with those large Texas sandstone boulders. I love the way that the bridge is actually tucked in, and you can see some of the hardware that actually holds this thing together. There are 3 sections of threaded rod that run through all those 8x8 timbers, cinching all together. What a cool look.
Now, believe it or not, there's not just one awesome fountainscape on this project. Framing the front door, you've got this other series of stack slate urns. You've got the large, the medium, and the small. Encompassed with this rock work, the stump that was shipped in from the Outer Banks. I mean, look, I can't even say enough about this.
Right now, I'm about like 60 or 80 feet away from the headwaters where we start, down to this main drop where we have the stepping stones going across. This pooling area is just over a foot deep, but the way this rockwork was put together, it looks like one large monolith of an outcropping. As you cross over, this is going to be a large fire pit area. This is still under construction. Manuel and Matt are working on this right now. That's going to be super cool. I love how they're utilizing a lot of the bricks they had from the old landscape. Check it out. Big circular pattern here, and right in the middle is going to be about a 6-foot wide fire pit. Matt's going to take this boulder here and bring it right into the edge, cut it into the wall, and that will just blend right in seamlessly. He'll do the same thing on the other side, flanking both sides of that entrance with more boulder work, just completing that feel of walking through the garden. Speaking of walking through the garden, there are pathways all around this. We want it to be super interactive. Come out in the morning and you're going for a little trail hike. So this goes from the front door around the back of this fountainscape, which is a really cool look in itself, because as you're peeking through all the hollies and the magnolias, you get a glimpse of that large stack slate urn, and there's that medium. So not only do you see it from when you enter the driveway, you see it as you start to meander through the gardens. And then of course, from the fire pit area, you get full view of the backside. That's a cool 360 water feature. This is where the opportunity to use really large rocks comes into play. Having something that is like planted, the kids can jump we're out here doing it. Jump all over these rocks, stepping across the water, kind of bouncing around. You could be out here for hours playing around. I know there are tons of tadpoles that just hatched. There's these tiny little frogs everywhere. I know Matt's daughter comes out here even at night with a flashlight to find these things. Let's see. Look how tiny that guy is. You see it? It almost looks like a bug, but it's not. That's a little frog. That is so cool.
One right here.
Yeah, they're just blending in. Check them out. But could you imagine just spending hours out here chasing these things around and checking out all the nature right in the front yard? We are not finished. I mean, there's still more to go. We're passing over where that crossing is, coming through here, and now you've got all these framed out pathways using this black DG taking you through the gardens. You can come off the driveway to enter things. Now, when this is completely finished, this will be all landscaped. You actually won't be able to see the pond from the driveway. You'll walk through that planted garden, and then you open up into all these different areas where you can actually walk all those paths, making your way over to the pond.
We've got this amazing waterfall. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, but it's flanked by some substantial boulders up to 15,000 pounds. So we had to have some huge pieces of equipment to get these into place, and they actually struggled with that. But to make this all make sense and to be to scale with that waterfall, we had to continue to taper away from that area with some big rocks, and we've got these massive steps. These steps were actually parking lot bumpers in the material yard that Matt got all these rocks from. So when we saw these, we knew we had an opportunity to create something really amazing with that. So we've got this grand staircase to take you around up to what would be a secret garden, possibly up top, or that upstream view looking down on the pond. One of the things I love about this staircase is it's not straight. You're not going straight on. So from that angle that we were standing at, you don't see where the staircase takes you. We placed them in an angular pattern so it turns and brings you up. So as you come around the bend, you explore more options, more destinations, more beauty. So let's take a look. This is the heart of the filtration right here. This is the Wetland filter. Ta-da. Now what's really cool about this Wetland filter, just like the rest of this garden, this is interactive as well. We've got about 14 inches of water in here. We've got these huge rocks, these stepping stones that take you right across the stream and lead you to another path that will be a later path for another garden area when the landscape continues to progress. But I mean, how awesome is this? This is not like tucking a external pressure filter around a block wall, putting some shrubs around it. This is a filter. This is the way you're gonna have a natural ecosystem pond filtered and to bring that nature right into your backyard. We're gonna go over some of the nuts and bolts, the technical stuff of how this actually works. So right behind me, we have the intake bay or intake cove. This is a little bit different than a mechanical skimmer. This is a natural extension of the pond. What I love about this, you don't see any parts and pieces of how this actually works. So we've got right over here, 5 pumps operating this entire system and a huge draw. So above us, we've got these beautiful tree canopies. Leaves are falling in the pond constantly, and that is being drawn into this area where it swirls around and is easily removed with a leaf net. And also another thing that I really like about intake bay is how safe it is for fish. Sometimes a situation happens where fish food draws into a skimmer and the fish want to chase it in there. Sometimes they get stuck. In an intake-based setup, especially a large one like this, there is no issues. We've got about 12 inches of standing water drawing in there. If food draws in, the fish can go in and out easily, and they actually love swimming against the current. So let me show you what that current looks like. Now right here we have a choke point of about almost 4 feet wide, and there's 40,000 gallons an hour drawing through here. So this is actually a pretty good current. Matt has a net on the pond so you can kind of see the net being pulled back. That gives you an idea of that current. And the fish love swimming in here. Last night they were swimming all in that space over there. So this makes, you know, just like I said, an extension of the pond and super easy to maintain. Leaf net that debris out, toss it in the garbage, and it doesn't get any easier than that.
Now we're down to the design element where this all started. This was an old barn just sitting out in the front yard. Matt had an existing pond here years ago that was out in the middle of the grass. It's about 9 feet deep, maybe like 50 by 80 or so. Just kind of lifeless looking. When we were talking about putting this in, we were shooting around a lot of ideas, and we're like, are you really gonna walk out there in the Texas heat in the middle of summer and hang out in the front yard full sun? Probably not. I mean, we're out here right now, it's over 100 degrees. Under this canopy, it's actually bearable. It's pretty nice, and Matt's got some fans under there where they're sitting. So we're like, okay, we gotta bring this closer to something. And that's when the whole barn renovation idea started. Matt's like, all right, if we're gonna do this, I'm gonna build a really cool office upstairs. I'm gonna build like a play area downstairs, man cave type setup. And now we got something to take advantage of. We got views from that structure out to the big waterfall. You're overlooking the pond. We were able to tuck that thing right up against the edge. We built a block wall inside the pond so that all those patio stones could cantilever over the edge, giving it a super clean look. So when those rooms are finished, especially the lower one you're looking out, you are just on the water right here in the front yard of Texas. I think that is amazing. So big thanks to this guy. He's actually become one of our friends now, which is kind of a pain, but
should still be in the corner, Ralph said. I hit my head on my excavator the other day, I almost fell off.
What I really appreciated about Matt is he didn't put any stops on us. He's like, listen, you guys are here for a reason, and it's to create what you're capable of. He let us run, and I think this turned out amazing. Matt loves it, the dogs love it, I love it, I don't want to leave. Actually, my bedroom's gonna be upstairs.
There whenever you want it.
You're gonna have to fight me for it.
You guys heard that,
out
right?
here.
Two got to stay in the guest house, 2 can stay upstairs.
Yeah.
I don't care, all 4 of you can stay upstairs. I don't care.
All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this Texas pond tour, culminating with my favorite project ever. Got to spend a lot of time with my friends here just going crazy and using our creativity. And I don't know how it gets better than this.
It doesn't. Until the next one.
Until the next one. Hit up Ralph over at Pondscapes AZ. Team Aquascape, Brian's over there. Decker's Pondscapes, he's in New York. Those guys were all on this project. Had a huge part in making this all come together. And big ups to this guy.
Uncle Matt.
Uncle Matt. See you on the next one.